What's up, everyone, and welcome to another Bitcoin market update. In these videos, you will learn how to use technical analysis to forecast price movements in your favorite cryptocurrencies so you can make calculated entry and exit decisions as a cryptocurrency investor. Before we dive into the analysis, just a quick reminder that everything on this channel is for educational purposes only and is not intended as financial advice. All right, starting off with Bitcoin on the monthly time frame. We are looking very good here. In the month of October, we have seen pretty much all bulls since this candle has opened. Now, when I'm looking at a chart like this as an investor, I need to understand the trend that we're currently in. Now, if we go back here and we look down at the previous price action, we can see we have a bull trend right here. So, of a low, high, higher low, and then higher high. And if you don't know how to identify a bull pattern, there's really four elements to it. You can check out our video where we break this down. It's the same exact chart right here, and we label these points on the chart for you guys, and you can see how you identify the lows and highs. Simply put, it's really where the price is going to be breaking either a candle's high or a candle's low to set either a high or a low. And then you're looking for a combination of four factors, those being a low, high, higher low, and then higher high. And they're in that sequence. So we have that here with our low, high, higher low, and then higher high. And if we look up here, we then continue this with a higher low, and now we're coming up. Now the question is, are we going to form a higher high or are we going to form a lower high? Now, if we form a lower high, that'll be the first time we've formed a lower high in quite some time, because back here we started this bull trend back in March. So it's been quite a long time before we had a lower high on the monthly time frame. So if we get that, that is very significant and something to be aware of. The higher we go, though, on this monthly time frame, the more likely it is we're going to break to a new higher high. And I'll talk about on the lower time frames, like the daily, why I think it is starting to become increasingly more likely that we are going to break to a new all-time high sometime in quarter four here in 2021. So from a candlestick perspective, from the monthly time frame, I'm always looking for the monthly candle close, which will happen in 17 days. When we're looking to identify and analyze candlesticks, we're looking for really the color of the candlestick and the wick of the candlestick. So in this case, this last candlestick here was a bearish candlestick. And the way we know that is we had our close, which is right here, below our open, making this a black candlestick on my screen. You might color it differently. The default is red, which means that the close was below the open. And then we had this longer upper wick here as well. So to me, this looked like we might end up seeing a drawdown thereafter. Now, this is only one factor as a technical investor for you to factor into your decision-making processes. So what you need to see for that to be verified is for us to break the low of that candlestick here, which we did not do. Instead, what happened was we opened up this candle here in October, and it's been all bulls since that point. So as we approach this previous high, I'm going to be looking for potential resistance up at where this candle closed here in March, which is at 58,740. So we haven't got up to 58,740 yet, but I would expect that that area is going to be a potential area for resistance, because that's where we had this massive sell-off. So that might be the area where if we do set a lower high, that would be the area, right around that range would probably be the area I would expect for that to occur. So let's go to the weekly time frame. On the weekly time frame, we are looking at a pretty strong bull trend here with a low, high, higher low, and then higher high. Something to keep in mind with this pattern is where this weekly candle closes. If this weekly candle closes above this key high, that will further confirm this pattern. For me, I always look for two candle closes above the key high to signify the confirmed bull trend, not just one, because sometimes what you'll see is it'll close one above it like it did here, and then the next candle it'll close back below, and then thereafter you'll see a significant drawdown. So I wait for that second candle confirmation. Now, something that I'm keeping an eye on as an investor here is this key high. So this key high has what's called liquidity above it, which means there's stop losses above this high. So if we go above this high, what's going to happen is the people that went short here, that have their stop losses above here, are going to say, okay, now I'm going to exit my short, which means I'm going to buy my position back, which adds buying pressure to the price of Bitcoin, causing the price to further increase. But what that can do, and what the whales in the market might do, is they might be looking to go short on Bitcoin. So what they might do is they might sell a bunch of their Bitcoin here into those people that are buying their positions back, those stop losses that are getting triggered above this high, and then the price will draw down thereafter. And the reason they need to push the price up into zones like this, which we'll call a liquidity zone, is because without that, if they were to just try and sell their large positions on the open market, they would drop the price significantly, and that would cause them to lose money because they're filling their short positions at lower prices as the price continues to draw down. So what they do is they push the price up, trigger a bunch of stop losses, sell their positions into those stop loss orders that are buying it, and then they're able to draw the price down. So this is going to be an area where I'm really going to be looking for price to react from, and I want to see how it reacts on the daily time frame, as well as the weekly. So the weekly, we need to see if we're bullish, a candle close above that high, and on the daily time frames, we want to see that as well. So from a weekly perspective, what we would not want to see is a candlestick that looks kind of like this. So it's a very crude drawing, but it's basically, we open here right around 54,659. We go up, we go above this high, we sweep that high, meaning we trade above it, but then we close back below it, and then we have this longer upper wick of a candlestick, and then after that we go down. That would be bearish in my opinion, and that would start to increase the likelihood that that monthly lower high is going to be set there, and we would experience a drawdown thereafter. But if we end up seeing, the bull scenario, where we see increasing bull volume, like we saw over the last 2 weeks, we see our bull volume here is increasing. We want to see this weekly candle close above this one in terms of the volume and be bullish for this trend to continue to be very strong and bullish. And we want to see a candle close above this high. If we do, then very likely we will continue higher in the coming months to break to a all-time high. From a 2-day perspective, a couple things to note here. We're still running into our resistance level here. So if we are looking at this from a support and resistance standpoint, the only resistance level that we really have to be worried about is the one that we're currently in, which is from back here when we had our bull trend. So we have a low, high, higher low, and then higher high with 2 candle closes above this key high, making this down candle our last down candle before this up move that was not an inside bar candle. That's key, because this one right here was an inside bar, so we could have considered that, but I don't consider that because it's an inside bar. So this last down candle before this up move to be our resistance. And you can see once we closed above that, that should have been support, but we pushed right through it and closed 2 candlesticks below it here and here on April 23rd. So now when we come back into it, it's resistance here. We see a rejection with this wick. We come back into it a second time, rejection, back into it a third time, rejection. So now we've had 3 rejections. So we have 1, 2, 3. And it's important to keep in mind the number of rejections off of a resistance or support level, so we know how weak that level is getting, because the more times that level is tested, the weaker it gets. So you can see we had another test right here. We ran into it and we came down. We broke the low of this October 10th candle here on October 12th. And now we had significant buying pressure with this longer lower wick. And we've traded above since that point. So now we have 2 more tests here. So we have 1 here and 1 here. So now we've tested this. We're on the 5th test of this level. So the more times we test this level, the weaker it gets. Eventually, once we close 2 2-day candlesticks above this gray level, this will turn into support for price. So that's what I'm going to be looking for potential long entry in the coming days, where I would go long on a retest of this level, which would look something like this, where we go above, we come back into it here. Here I go long, and then we go up from there, hopefully to a new higher high. So I'm looking for this level to potentially turn into support in the coming days, as I think the daily time frame is very bullish, and I'll use the long position tool here to calculate my risk to reward ratio, as well as where my stop loss is going to be, the percentages away from my entry, which will give me my position size for the trade, or the investment in this case, because in this case I would be doing it more as an investment, because if we're going to an all-time high, you're hopefully going to be holding that for quite some time, because all-time highs are price discovery periods where people are discovering what they want to value this asset at. In this case, it's Bitcoin. So you can see pretty significant profits in that scenario. And so I'd be looking at this more as an investment. And if you don't know how to use the long position tool to calculate things like your position size and also your risk reward ratio, you can check out our video where we break that down for you in very simple terms. So from a daily perspective, if we look at this, I'm very happy with the way the daily time frame is looking right now. If we look at this from an Ichimoku Cloud perspective, I've been talking about this indicator for quite some time now. I think I even started talking about it back here in like September. And I said, once this flips to be in the most bullish scenario, I will be going long and riding this trend upwards if that scenario ends up playing out. And that's what we have had here. We had some consolidation, some accumulation, and then we broke above here. And we have flipped this to be in the most bullish pattern it can be in, which is where the cloud is green. The Tenkin, the blue line, is above the red, which is the Kijun, and price is above all of that. Once we have all of those scenarios holding true, we will go long on the first daily candle that is the case, which was here on October 11th, and then we are waiting for the subsequent rise in price if that is to happen. The last time that this happened on the bull side was back here in October of 2020, believe it or not. Funnily enough, it's in October, both of these signals, but you can see it was here on October 7th when we got this signal. Here we go long, and you can see that this trend, the Tenkin and the Kijun, or the Tenkin being above the Kijun, cloud being green, and price being above that, held true for quite some time. And the Kijun, the red line, gives us an area to potentially add to our position. You can see here was 2 spots to potentially add, 2 opportunities. We go up some more. Here's another opportunity. We go up some more. And then eventually you close out the position once you get a candle close below the Kijun. So at this point, I'm just going to be holding this. I really have no reason to, exit this position. At this point, I've only been in it for a few days, and we already saw some profit today. So we'll see how high we can get in the coming weeks based on this pattern. Also, another trend following indicator, super guppy, looking very good here, back in the most bullish scenario, with the longer term investor EMAs down here trending upwards, and the shorter term trader EMAs above those as well. You can check out our video where we break down how to use this indicator as an investor, but one of the ways I like to use it in a bull trend is just buy once we get into the green EMAs here. So if we get back into these on this trend, or when we get back into these on this trend, that is where I'll be looking to position in and add to my long position. Last thing I'll talk about is just the support level below the current price. So if we look at this, this is a bull trend here. So we have our low, high, higher low, and then higher high. This black candle right here is going to be our support level for price. This is a fresh, untested support level. So if we come back into this, this is a potential buying opportunity for traders, and you could potentially look to target the top of this support level here, or even higher if you think we're going to go higher in the coming days. So that is what I got for you guys. If you like this video, please give it a like down below and subscribe to get future updates on when we upload videos on cryptocurrencies and blockchain technologies. And if you haven't already, check out our beginner tactical analysis course that we released on lutheria.com. This is where you can learn all of the foundational elements of technical analysis that you can apply as an investor to make informed decisions on where to buy and sell these different assets that you're interested in holding long term, so you can accumulate more of them and generate significant profits as well. So check that out. We're currently running a special where you can get 20% off that course. And until next time, onward and upward.